Ah, yes. Born to hand job, baby. You know, you guys won't. You guys won't know this, but I just dropped Carlos off. We just came from the fights, so Queensland middleweight fight between Cyrus Peri and Luke Travers. Cyrus Peri from the Gold Coast versus Luke Travers from Bow Desert, who put on a great fight. I wouldn't even say a controversial decision. Sort of someone had to win it, but it was a tough fight. The way I saw it, oh, by the way, I'm doing this because guess what? Carlos and I just drove around the streets of Eleanor for about 20 minutes recording this podcast. And guess what? At the end, it didn't even record. We're just driving around telling stupid stories. And it didn't even record. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you send an email to someone and somehow you delete it. But it was this massive half-hour email and it didn't even work. So that's what just happened. We just got to the end at midnight and just went, man, it didn't even record. We were just two dudes driving around the street holding an iPhone and it didn't even record. Anyway. So g'day. This is a live broadcast. Never done one of these before. And I'm driving home. But I just wanted to say, the way that fight went was a really good fight. Luke Travers is a younger guy from Bow Desert with a sort of a Mike Tyson kind of peekaboo style, and he's really exciting. He sort of fights from nothing. It's hard to... He was like a robot that just keeps coming forward, like just comes forward and then explodes a couple of combos into his opponent. And then we've got Cyrus Peri, who had a lot of hometown support on the Gold Coast, and he's definitely very good too. He seemed to, for 4 rounds, had his sort of met his match in some sort of way. Like he was a little pressured by Luke Travers' constant forward aggression, and so he was often sort of leaning in on Luke and locking up his arms, and that kind of stopped the fight. The ref kept breaking them up, and then in the middle of the 4th round, the ref actually said, "Hey, Cyrus Peri, stop holding, stop holding on." But that was the worst thing that could have ever happened to Luke Travers, because then it got really emotional. The fight actually got really emotional, and Cyrus seemed to get quite annoyed, and he just stood up. He became this stand-up fight. And to be honest, for some reason, when you have a favourite fighter, for some reason I was just sort of, I liked what young Luke Travers was sort of doing, and his sort of family there, his dad, and he's got a young brother and a couple of mates, and then there was Chubby's crew over there who were, Cyrus Peri's part of Team Chubby, and for no particular reason, like they're just great, both great fighters. They sort of did different things. Cyrus Peri's got this really cool way of jabbing and attacking, and I've seen him really slay some guys in the past at some of these great Jamie Myer fights. But on this occasion, Luke just kept coming forward. As soon as the ref said, "Okay, stop doing that," Cyrus Peri got a little frustrated, and he just kept coming. He started to really stand up and lay in some big combinations, and Luke Travers, he never got sort of flustered by it, and there were no sort of big haymakers in the fight, So all of it, but what happened is all of a sudden Cyrus Peri appeared to be sort of doing more because he started to stand up a little. Maybe he was just conserving energy. Maybe it was a huge, great tactical move. To just lean in and conserve, let the other kid do everything, but I tell you what, when the decision was made, Luke Travers and his dad and the boys were really sort of disappointed. I would say stormed off. All they did, they left before, But hey, I would have been upset too, because they kind of both fought just as well as each other, and someone had to win, and there's probably sort of all this underlying sort of gear going on that we can't see, but that's kind of what happened. And why am I telling you? I don't know. It just seems like no one else is sort of reaching out and saying stuff like that in the coast. So Carlos and I drove home from the fight, and we really wanted to speak in this mic and let those two fighters at least know how we felt about it. I know from racing cars, you'd have the journalist's point of view, but they, it might be just like a couple of paragraphs in the back of a paper or something, and but to hear a bunch of sort of normal guys who obviously love fighting and fought before, but what they really thought and what their styles look like and all that sort of stuff, it sort of means a lot to sports people or anyone. And who else was there? Nathan McEwen, man, what a fighter. He was one of the other professional fights, and he just destroyed, I forget his name, Sanjay Omar, I think, but Nathan McEwen just punched through the man, and that was another win. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about boxing right now. Oh, dude, let me tell you something. Tomorrow, the Titanics, the world's best cover band in the world, with our new lineup, are playing at the Kingscliff Bowls Club. They're the greatest, coolest little town in northern New South Wales. We've got a new bass player, Andy. We've got Kirsty, backup vocals and dancing. It's so weird, I'm in a band full of 4 guys, and all of a sudden we've got 3 original members and 2 new people, and it pumps. By the way, it's like completely different, but it's just pumping band. And look, I'm from the world of cover bands being pretty sucky, and so I'm a original sort of dude. So I personally try and make this a real sort of different deal, and have a lot of fun. So obviously none of you guys are going to hear this and go to it, so I'm just sort of yapping on into an iPhone. But I'm going to turn this off now because I'm renting in the mountains. Hey, love yous. Thanks for listening, and hi from Australia, Gold Coast. Oh, it's midnight.